So Voxlblade is a new RPG game on Roblox that released about a week ago, and I honestly have enjoyed the game, and I really think it is a good game, at least in my opinion. But despite how much I personally enjoyed Voxlblade and all the good things I can say about Voxlblade, there is a lot of concerns to be had about Voxlblade. The game is not perfect by any means. So I wanted to talk about my personal concerns with Voxlblade and also your guys' concerns with Voxlblade, because I know not everybody has been enjoying the game, and a lot of people just don't like the game in general. So I wanted to hear what you guys think. So I ended up making a community post asking you guys what your thoughts were, and a lot of you guys gave very interesting responses. So if you guys want to participate next time as well, or participate for the first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel. But before we look at your guys' concerns, I'm gonna look at my own personal concerns, because I feel like some of these are really important. Content and consistent updates is probably the thing that scares me the most in regarding Voxlblade's future. And you might be thinking, why do I say this? The game just came out. Well, the game does have a really good foundation, but it does lack a lot of content. There is a good amount of content, but there definitely needs to be more in future updates to keep the game, you know, consistently active. But we don't know how frequent the updates are going to be for Voxlblade. But what makes it even worse for me is we've seen this same story happen before. When Voxlblade released a few years ago, the game did have a good foundation then as well. Obviously it's a lot better now, but even then, for the time, the game was good, at least in my opinion. And even then, the owner got demotivated, stopped working on the game, which eventually led to the game being re-released right now. But I'm really hoping we won't see this happen again, but there is some red flags. He literally has already talked about being fatigued. I hope he was just talking about like a short-term sort of thing, because I really am still concerned about how many consistent updates we are going to be getting for Voxlblade. The first comment I want to look at points out a concern that's very valid in my opinion that I also was thinking about. He didn't necessarily say it like this, but he essentially said that the game is not intuitive. The game doesn't necessarily teach you how to play the game, and you really need outside sources like Trello and YouTube to really understand what to do. And I think this is the main reason you have such a distinction in the player base, or at least people that have played the game, where you have some people that really hate Voxlblade and some people that really enjoy Voxlblade. And generally speaking, I think that people that don't like Voxlblade at all probably haven't looked at YouTube tutorials. They probably haven't looked at the Trello, and they probably went in the game blind. And I see if you did go in the game blind, why you probably wouldn't enjoy the game. But this isn't an issue Voxlblade can fix very easily. Let me explain. First of all, Voxlblade is an open world game, meaning you're not forced to go from one area to another area. You get to choose, and this is naturally going to be an issue because when a game is open world, it gives you your own choice, and players on Roblox are used to not having their own choice. They're used to following, oh, this is a level 5 cap, then there's a level 10 cap, and they're used to just following it in an order like that. But they still did try to make it easier for new players, and I think that's what the point of the main story quest line was. It wasn't a thing in the previous Voxlblade. I think the reason it was added is not to really be your main source of levels or gameplay, but to kind of give you like a soft tutorial. For example, you get to a certain stage in the game and it says get stronger. It's essentially telling you, go do side quests, go find mobs, go find bosses, and go find stuff to do in the map and kind of explore the world. But then I've also seen people say they got confused exploring the world, and the world is just too complicated going around it, especially as a new player. And I feel like these are easy solutions I could easily implement to fix. For the map issues, I don't see the problem in just adding a mini map or adding a map item that people could use to explore and know where they're going to make it more intuitive for new players. I personally don't understand why some people prefer having no map or mini map. To me, it just makes things harder for everyone. It makes it a less enjoyable experience for some players, so I don't see why you just wouldn't add it. But I feel like what new players really need to see is how much customization options Voxlblade has, because I feel like that's Voxlblade's biggest strength and what makes Voxlblade such a good game in my opinion. And I feel like a simple way to show all the new players how much customization options they have is just show the same map that's in the Trello that they officially made. Just put that same map in the game. Either add it next to the shrines, or add it in the HUD, or add it somewhere where new players could see it and be like, damn, I could choose from any of this for real, and show them all the different options they have essentially. The next comment I want to look at says, I want to see PvP added and mobile to bring more players. And I agree with both of these, but it's a lot more complicated than it sounds. And when I say that, I'm mainly referring to PvP in this game, because PvP would be so unbalanced just because some people's builds are so strong and some people's builds are just not strong. Now, I'm pretty sure they are planning on adding PvP sometime in the future, but they are possibly, I'm hoping at least, waiting to try to balance out everything so that PvP is a lot more balanced than it would be if it released right now. But even if they do that, I'm sure PvP will still be pretty unbalanced, and that's mainly just because of how many different build options you could go. I don't know how it would be possible to balance that many different things, and I just don't realistically see it happening. But I do think PvP should still be added, but I think they should try to make it like a side thing, more like an addition into the game. Don't let it take over the game. By this, I mainly mean allow players that don't want a PvP to simply enjoy PvE. So allow players to turn off PvP. Make it a choice to want a PvP, I feel like. like maybe make a ranked mode or something like that. But I feel like if you don't give players the option to turn PvP off, you're gonna run into a problem where you just see a bunch of high level players with crazy builds just sitting there and killing low level players, making their gameplay pretty much unenjoyable. And the second part of this comment, to add mobile to bring more players, is so important in my opinion, and I'm not even on mobile. And the reason I say this is because adding mobile would literally benefit everybody. First of all, like 80% of Roblox is on mobile, so that's naturally just gonna lead to more players, but more players equals more views on the YouTube videos, leading to more YouTube videos, and then you get a bigger game in general because you're getting more exposure now from YouTube. But this would also lead to more people buying and spending Robux on the game, which would probably lead to more happy game developers that are more motivated to keep updating the game, and hopefully update the game faster as well. And I also just thought of the game passes are like 50 Robux, which is like perfect for mobile. It feels like that's designed for mobile players because you could get $1 for like 80 Robux, so you could get a game pass for $1. I don't know another game that's like that. The next comment I'm gonna look at says add more skills and maybe race abilities, and I really agree with the more skills part, especially because I feel like only one skill with only one rune skill is really little. I don't see a reason why there's not like 2 sword skills with maybe 1 or 2 runes as well. I personally don't think adding 1 or 2 more skills would change the fundamental game at all, but would honestly just emphasize it and make it better. Especially with how long the cooldowns are on the abilities, I feel like it makes no sense that I'm M1ing 90% of the time, especially on builds like guns and mage. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But just in general, people have more fun when they have abilities to use, because that's what a lot of people play Roblox games for. Now, I'm not saying to make skills super spammable or anything, but I don't see a world where they add 1 or 2 more skills or reduce the cooldown on the skills and that actually hurts the game. I just don't see that. I feel like it would make the game more popular, and more importantly, I feel like it would make the game feel more responsive and more fun overall. I also like the idea of the other part of this comment, which was maybe race abilities. I don't know exactly how this would work. I'm sure they could get creative with it, but imagine like a Boreon, which is like the tree race, having some sort of like tree, like Hashirama type ability, y'all feel me? Like, this isn't something that would be necessary by any means, and it would have to probably come very far in the future, just because I'm sure they have a lot of stuff they want to add more short term, and this would be something that would take a while. They could maybe add like a quest line to unlock your race ability or something. That would be pretty cool in my opinion, and I feel like they would do it well if they actually decided to do it, but I guess that's just something to hope for. This next comment says group fights suck, which is a problem because that's the entire main storyline. Essentially, I think he's talking about the void rifts where you get jumped by like a million NPCs, but honestly, I don't really see this as that much of a problem. I feel like you're kind of meant to fight these with multiple people. It's kind of like the community aspect of the game. That's kind of how I see it, though. I am kind of open to what he's saying here. I believe, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe he's essentially saying to make it so that only one NPC can target you at once, which I don't think would be the worst thing in the world, but I also am not that big a fan of this. I don't know, I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't hate this either. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Y'all let me know. But if y'all enjoy my videos, I would appreciate if y'all subscribe. I try to make videos as consistently as I can, and I would appreciate if y'all would support me by subscribing. You feel me? And also let me know what y'all personal issues are with Voxlblade. I'm actually curious to see what people think the game can do to change. I actually really like the game, so I hope they're able to make it change for the better. And also like the video, please. Thank y'all. Later. Wait, I forgot to say love y'all. I love y'all.